News, narratives, everything is turning positive. SEC approves the first leveraged Bitcoin future ETF. So you actually see the price moving higher, touching 31,500. That for Bitcoin is some price action to see. But what's interesting is to actually understand we have not yet managed to close that particular daily candle around that highs. We came back below a previous level of resistance, which is somewhere around 30,600. So if we actually go into the charts on a weekly, yes, we do see a bullish pattern coming in, but right now we are still below that level of resistance. But the way you should look at this is as the RSI is breaking back above the moving average here, there is a lot of price action coming. And that means there can be a squeeze. Short sellers would be here. They would be accumulating their position somewhere here. And if the price action goes 35, 37,000, that means there is going to be a lot of liquidations coming in. But is that all roses on the way ahead? No, it doesn't actually look so. If you actually look at XRP precisely, we may actually see some price action to the downside. 0.47 is going to be the first level of support. If we get a bounce from there, yes, that's a double bottom. But if you actually zoom out and look at this scenario, we would not deny the fact that, okay, we may actually come even lower. That is a huge possibility in the market. So how is that going to turn out? What are the levels you should be watching? Because if you actually look at the safe haven assets, it's breaking to the downside. Now we need to understand what that really means, because this is a time where this is impacting people. More bank mergers, more bank collapse, in other words, is coming ahead. We are watching some of the biggest companies around the globe getting hit hard. Their shares dropping 37%. So things are changing, and they're changing quickly. And at that time, when the Fed chair comes out and give you the thought process of we may hike 2 more times this year, that doesn't really look good, because we just saw like the Norway, the UK, you have a long fleet of central banks doing the rate hikes, pushing the asset values down. But on the other aisle, we actually watching crypto, the adoption, everything turning slowly into the direction for these institutions to come in and then buy at the bottom. So if that's true, yeah, we may actually drop to the bottom, right? Now, we're going to break those down here right now. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this crypto world. Yes, things are looking okay for the moment. We are watching green day here, but what we have to remember is the fact that it's not confirmed yet in the altcoin side of things. When you go look at the charts, this is what XRP is looking like. So we cannot actually deny the fact that this particular range or this region which I'm highlighting here does look something similar to that of what we have seen here or that we have seen here. So if that's true, we have another leg to the downside. So we may actually get the price action to the downside, price moving towards 0.4, or creating a region and making maybe a long wick to the downside to 0.38 and staying around 0.41. That would be bullish. Because if we are watching the macro price action and understanding the fact that, okay, Bitcoin dominance is slowly grinding higher when Bitcoin price itself is moving to the upside. And here we have not yet managed to break through this level of resistance. So getting a rejection from that level shouldn't surprise us, because we tried to break that level a couple of times here inside this pattern and we got rejected. Now, the positive thing, however, would be if we manage to bounce off from 0.41, that means we actually get a double bottom pattern here on a macro. That would turn things completely bullish. Now, macro, yes, it does look bullish because we are holding on to this particular trend line, and even if we're getting rejected here, we are coming back to that trend line. That means macro, this is bullish, but that's adding another few weeks into the waiting time. Great. But now if you actually look at the same for Bitcoin, now that does matter, because the media, the attention, everything in crypto kind of starts from Bitcoin. So now this is a little bit of medium term scenario. You're looking at the MACD here. The MACD has crossed to the upside after a few months of correction. So it was not a quick move here. We actually got few months of correction. So if you actually go back, looking at what the MACD does, when you actually get these level of corrections and then a confirmation from the indicators suggesting, okay, I'm breaking to the upside here in the RSI, and then the MACD showing, okay, I'm breaking back up. Now, what's even more important in the MACD here is that this upside cross is coming in the positive zone, not the negative zone. So that can give price action some more momentum. We have actually seen this happening here last time. You crossed to the downside, then you went back up immediately. That created the run up from 19,000 all the way up to $31,000. So keeping that in mind, Bitcoin does have some upside potential here, which means a lot of selling happening right now. If you are taking profits, that's a different story. But if you are going short this asset in this particular range, it's going to be wild. Meaning the price action would actually try to liquidate those positions so that more and more liquidity is entering the market and the whales obviously make their way out. And this is a trend line we are watching and observing from some time. And we do understand the fact that we are bouncing off from that particular level. So if you're saying like, okay, let me actually plot the resistance and what I should look forward to, I would actually look like a $40,000 Bitcoin. Right now we are 30. So that's a $10,000 move to the upside in Bitcoin terms. Now, keeping in mind what the altcoins have done while Bitcoin has run up all the way from 15,000 towards 25 and then from 19 to 31, we do see a lot of coins following to the upside. We do see a lot of altcoins having the potential, showing opportunities in the market even right now. We are literally going through a lot of different assets inside the group. So if you are interested in that, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. Now, jumping back into the charts, while you actually keep this in mind, understand there's a macro level playing out. And if you actually go on monthly, now remember, there's only like a week left for this month to get closed. Now, that means we are kind of repeating history. And if that is so, we have been talking about this from like few months, maybe 6-7 months, that this is a possible outcome. There can be a drop. And if you actually watch it from Jan, now we have actually done that. We moved up, we consolidated, now we are pushing higher with an engulfing candle on the monthly. That actually means massively bullish structure here. So if that's true, next 6 months is going to be ultra bullish. Now, why would I say next 6 months? Because when you're actually looking at this, you actually see like, 180 days. That's 6 months of price action to the upside before you actually retest that range and get rejected, right? So if it's like history is repeating, then we may actually look at that stance too. That's wave 2. But then you actually see like, okay, the wave 1 itself here, that was somewhat like 120 days. So that's 4 months. Now, even if you take the average, it can be like somewhere around 5 months. But I think this time around, the market is going to... Now, there are 2 ways of playing this out. Either it's going to be a really quick run to the upside, surprising a lot of people in the market, and then dropping hard. And that's going to be the real bear market, which I've been talking from a very long time, when others were giving you the narrative of new bull market starting here for next 2-3 years. Now, let's actually watch that and see how things evolve. But right now, what's even more important here is that remembering the fact that last time we got these candle to the upside and the MACD crossing to the upside, we got wave 1. Next time we got wave 2. Now this is the third wave coming in. And at that same time, if you notice where your RSI is on the monthly, you are now above 50, which is more than neutral. You're trying to push higher. Next month, the candle is going to open positive. If that's true, in 7 days, we're actually going to see some price action here, some volatility for sure. And that kind of gives you a massive opportunity zone, meaning Bitcoin, even if it's running up to 90,000, you're getting an opportunity to do a 3x. Whereas while Bitcoin moves up, there will be a lot of people who are going to definitely do the monkey jumping for sure. They will actually drop their own assets which are in loss and jump onto Bitcoin or any few assets which are running higher to try and get those upside. But what happens at that time? these assets will drop a little bit for sure. Those who grab at that particular point or average down towards that particular level is going to get the upside, which is going to be massive. Now, why is it massive? When Bitcoin is going to run only 3x, altcoins are going to do, exceptionally well. Why would I actually say that? If we actually go back and break that down on the same horizon, say monthly or at least a weekly chart here for the altcoin side of things, you'll actually notice the fact that, okay, if it actually drops one more leg, it's going to come back down to this particular range, which shows huge opportunity area, because even last time we have actually done some consolidation in this range and then the price action went interesting. Now, if you actually look at how high the price can actually go from these levels, it's monstrous levels we are actually talking about. So if you're open, being optimistic, now you're talking about huge price action, huge range here. Say you consider this as the macro run, then this one is just half of that. We're still waiting to go above that, and as soon as we get a double bottom, those of who are already loaded up, they are doing fine. What they need more is more of patience, because this is a monthly candle we are watching, and if this monthly candle happens to close like what we are observing now, that shows a lot of buying happening even at this point, which means you may not actually get a huge drop. You may retest this level for sure, the recent lows in some of these assets, but then you may actually watch another candle on a monthly. Remember, altcoins may actually print a green candle or a bullish candle soon, maybe next month, maybe August, and that would change the entire scenario. Those who are now jumping off to different assets to look for or search for gains may actually get surprised by this particular move, because that means large cap coins are about to blast off. And that's why when we actually come back into XRP and ask the same question, like, okay, you just told we are going to drop. I'm like, yeah, there is a huge possibility that first you're going to drop, and that first drop is going to be the retest range in the altcoin side of things when Bitcoin initially take off. Now, you actually come back into the ether side of things or the altcoin side of things, and you'll see the horizontal level of resistance is still intact. If you actually look at the support zone, it's really close. It's not that weird to come for the price to actually come back down, test this particular range of 1780, and then bounce off towards 2000 or 2100. That is going to be a really positive scenario in the market. However, don't forget the fact that the market is also trying to price in this stuff. Banks gonna go in this side. Why? Because the central bankers are now going nuts, saying, okay, we're gonna do a couple more basis points, a couple more highs with maybe 20-25 basis points. Some of the countries like UK have went like 50 basis points. That's crazy at this time. Meaning companies are already laying off. Banks are already getting hit hard. So the economy is at that point where if you actually push it even a little bit further, this may actually explode. If that's true, we are looking for even very worse scenario in the economy, but not end up just as a recession. It can reflect something which we have seen in the historical movements of the economy, like the 1930s, like the Great Depression. If we are about to watch that, and at the same time we are watching a migration into the new technology, new asset class, people choosing new values, that means crypto stands a lot of possibilities here. Now, that's a weekly chart for Bitcoin. What about the daily chart? Right now, yeah, we do think like price coming back to $28,000 shouldn't be neglected, because that's a short-term scenario where you're actually literally making higher highs in the price action side of things, whereas the RSI is showing you I'm slowing down. So something is slowing down, but that can just be at 29,500, can just be around 28 range. It's still going to be healthy because the market is still trending higher. If you actually look at this all the way from the movement from 24,700, now we're at 30k. So that itself shows you the sentiment in the market is changing. If we are not changing our sentiment towards that bullish thought process and being prepared to accumulate as much as possible, to be positioned as well as possible. This is going to be a missed opportunity which you may regret in a year, because after that you may wait for 3 years, 4 years for a huge drop in the market to buy these levels. Maybe it's going to come even lower, but before that it's going to go much higher than that. You're looking at the long-term scenarios playing out here. On a daily, you see the medium term breaking out, the bullishness coming back into the market. On a weekly, you are literally watching the retest and bounce in some of these regions, right? You come back down and you're bouncing off. Now, is there any negative thing which may come here? Yeah, one of the possibility I see is if you get rejected somewhere here and come back down, now that's a head and shoulder possibility coming inside the RSI. So that's one negative thing which may happen. That's even if it's just 10% probability. I'm just giving you guys what's possible. But 90% shows you the upside. So basically, whenever you go in investment area, you're looking for the downside versus the upside. Right? There is nothing risk-free, and especially crypto, which is a nascent asset class, the risk is sky high. So at this point, what you're trying to do is to balance that risk, not buying at the roof when the price actually goes nuts, but when the price actually drops, people's emotion, the psychology, everything is low, you buy at the lower end. Now, yes, that gives you more time to wait till the time the price actually goes up to a level which you really want. So if you are in that position, consider all that we have discussed and digest and boil that down to one point. You need patience for sure, but at the same time, you need to look at what the price action is doing at this particular range, because if you break here in Bitcoin, now that's going to be like crazy price action coming in few weeks from here. So if you are ready for that, wait for further movement in the market. We stay updated with all this information. So guys, if you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate that a lot. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.